PowerPoint tutorial for ICDL by Ahmed Khorshid. Chapter 1: Establishing the Foundation. Sections. Section 1.1: Navigating the PowerPoint interface and ribbon architecture. Section 1.2: Managing presentation files, formats, and compatibility. Section 1.3: Customizing preferences and utilizing the help function. Section 1.4: Switching between view modes for efficient editing. Welcome to the command center of your presentation journey. Before we design stunning graphics or animate text, we must master the environment where these creations live. Think of this chapter as adjusting the seat and mirrors before driving a high-performance vehicle. For the ICDL candidate, this section is non-negotiable. The exam tests not just your ability to create, but your efficiency in navigating the software. We will strip away the confusion of the PowerPoint interface and focus on the mechanics of file management, ensuring your work is safe, compatible, and perfectly viewed. Let's build a workspace that works for you, not against you. 1.1: Navigating the PowerPoint interface and ribbon architecture. When you first launch PowerPoint, the sheer number of icons can feel overwhelming. However, Microsoft has organized this chaos into a logical hierarchy known as the ribbon. Understanding this logic is the key to speed. Once you know the category of an action, you will instinctively know where to find it. The interface is divided into three main components: tabs, groups, and commands. Tabs are the broad categories across the top, like Home or Insert. Groups are the labeled sections within those tabs, like font or paragraph, and commands are the specific buttons you click. The ribbon logic. Figure: a clean, high-contrast annotated diagram of the PowerPoint workspace in Windows 11 style. Labels clearly point to 1. The Quick Access Toolbar, 2. The ribbon tabs, 3. A specific group, e.g., font, 4. The slide pane, and 5. The status bar. The lighting is soft and professional, highlighting the ribbon architecture against a dark gray background. The ribbon is designed around workflow. You generally start at the Home tab for text basics, move to Insert to add content, switch to Design for aesthetics, and finally to Transitions and Animations for movement. A distinctive feature of the ribbon is contextual tabs. These are tabs that only appear when you need them. For example, you will not see the Picture Format tab until you actually select an image on your slide. This keeps the interface clean, showing you tools only when they are relevant to your current task. The Quick Access Toolbar, QAT. Located at the very top left of the window, above the tabs, sits the Quick Access Toolbar. This is your personal toolkit. By default, it houses Save, Undo, and Redo, but its true power lies in customization. If there is a button you use 50 times a day, right-click it on the ribbon and select Add to Quick Access Toolbar. This eliminates the need to hunt through tabs for your favorite tools. For the ICDL exam, knowing how to locate and utilize this toolbar is a fundamental skill. 1.2: Managing presentation files, formats, and compatibility. Creating a masterpiece is useless if you cannot save it correctly or if your recipient cannot open it. File management is the backbone of digital literacy. In the professional world, sending the wrong file format can look amateurish or, worse, expose your editing notes to an audience. Saving versus saving as. There is a distinct difference between save and save as. Use Save, Ctrl+S, to update the current file you are working on. Use Save as F12 when you want to create a copy, change the file name, or alter the file type. The Backstage view, accessed by clicking the File tab, is where these administrative tasks happen. Here, you can also inspect your document for hidden metadata or protect it with a password, critical skills for maintaining corporate security. Essential file formats. Figure: a split-screen comparison illustration. On the left, a Save as a dialog box shows the drop-down menu expanded with .pptx highlighted. On the right, a visual flow chart showing a file turning into a PDF and a PPSX file, symbolizing different output formats. The style is modern, isometric vector art. For the ICDL certification, you must understand when to use specific file extensions. The default format is .pptx, but your needs will vary based on the situation. Format extension best use case. Author's note: I always recommend saving a backup PDF version of your slides before a big presentation. If the venue's computer doesn't have the fonts you used, the PDF will save the day. 1.3 Customizing preferences and utilizing the help function. PowerPoint is not a one-size-fits-all application. You can tailor the behavior of the software to match your work style. This is done through the PowerPoint Options dialog box, found in the Backstage view under File Options. Setting user information and save options. One of the first things you should verify is the username in the General tab. This name appears in comments and metadata, which is vital for collaborative projects. Equally important is the Save tab within Options. Here, you can adjust the Save Auto Recover information time. By default, it is often set to 10 minutes. I strongly suggest lowering this to every 5 minutes. In the event of a power outage or crash, those 5 minutes can mean the difference between losing a minor edit and losing an entire slide design. The help function. Gone are the days of flipping through a physical manual. PowerPoint's Tell Me feature, often represented by a light bulb icon or a search bar at the top of the window, acts as a search engine for tools. If you forget where the Align tool is located, simply press Alt+Q and type Align. PowerPoint will not only show you the help article but will give you the actual button to click right there in the menu. Mastering this search function is a shortcut to passing the ICDL exam when your memory momentarily lapses. 1 point for switching between view modes for efficient editing. Different stages of presentation building require different perspectives. You wouldn't edit a photo while looking at it from across the room, and you shouldn't organize a 50-slide deck while staring at a single slide. PowerPoint offers for primary views to handle these distinct phases. You can switch between these views using the View tab or the shortcut icons located on the status bar at the bottom right of the screen. Normal view versus slide sorter. Figure: a detailed screenshot composition showing the 4 main view icons from the status bar: Normal, Slide Sorter, Reading View, and Slide Show. Above each icon, a mini window depicts what that view looks like on a monitor screen, creating a visual dictionary of the view modes. Normal view is your construction zone. It contains the slide navigation pane on the left and the main editing stage in the center. This is where you will spend 90% of your time adding content and designing layouts. Slide Sorter view, however, is the director's chair. It displays all your slides as thumbnails spread across the screen. This is the only efficient way to reorganize the flow of a presentation. If you need to move slide 40 to become slide 2, or check for consistency in your color palette, Slide Sorter is the tool to use. Notes page and Reading View. Notes page view allows you to see your slide and your speaker notes on a single printable page. This is excellent for creating handouts for yourself to reference while speaking. Finally, Reading View allows you to review the presentation as if it were a slideshow, but within a window that still allows access to the Windows taskbar. It is the perfect way to quality check your animations without fully taking over your screen.
Chapter 2: Structuring the Presentation Deck. Sections. Section 2.1: Creating, Duplicating, and Reordering Slides Effectively. Section 2.2: Implementing and Modifying Standard Slide Layouts. Section 2.3: Enforcing Design Consistency via the Slide Master. Section 2.4: Applying Themes and Background Styles Globally. In Chapter 1, we adjusted our mirrors and learned the dashboard. Now, we begin the actual construction. If a presentation were a building, this chapter would be about pouring the concrete foundation and framing the walls. We aren't painting the room or hanging curtains just yet. We are ensuring the structure is sound so it doesn't collapse under the weight of your content. For the ICDL candidate, structure is synonymous with efficiency. A poorly structured deck requires manual fixes on every single slide, a nightmare for productivity and a guaranteed way to lose points on the exam. A well-structured deck, however, allows you to control 100 slides as easily as you control one. We are going to move beyond simply adding slides. We are going to architect a presentation file that is consistent, scalable, and professional. Let's frame the house. 2.1 Creating, duplicating, and reordering slides effectively. The most basic unit of PowerPoint is the slide, but how you manage these units determines your workflow speed. Novices click the New Slide button repeatedly. Professionals use shortcuts and strategic duplication to maintain momentum. To add a slide, the standard approach is the Home tab. However, the ICDL syllabus emphasizes understanding where that slide goes. A new slide always appears immediately after the slide currently selected in the thumbnail pane. The art of duplication. Figure, detailed technical illustration of the PowerPoint home ribbon focused on the new slide drop-down menu. The image should be clean, high-contrast UI style. Highlight the split button nature, the top half icon versus the bottom text part. Annotate with an arrow showing the Reuse Slides option at the bottom of the list. Blue and white color scheme typical of modern office software. Often, creating a new slide from scratch is a waste of time. If you have a slide with complex formatting, specific placeholders, or an animation sequence you want to reuse, duplicating is superior to creating new. Select the slide in the thumbnail pane and press Ctrl+D. This creates an exact clone. In a testing environment, if you are asked to create a slide that looks exactly like slide 3, never build it from scratch. Duplicate slide 3 and edit the text. This guarantees consistency and saves valuable minutes. Organizing with slide sorter. When you need to rearrange the narrative flow, the normal view feels cramped. This is where the slide sorter view becomes essential. It gives you a bird's-eye view of your entire deck. Switch to the View tab and select Slide Sorter. Here, you can drag and drop slides to reorder them rapidly. You can also select multiple slides by holding Ctrl while clicking, allowing you to move entire sections of your presentation at once. 2.2 Implementing and modifying standard slide layouts. Figure, wide-angle view of a computer monitor displaying PowerPoint in slide sorter view. The screen shows 12 slides arranged in a grid. An overlaid semi-transparent hand cursor is dragging slide 4 to position 8, with a visual indicator, vertical bar, showing where it will drop. The slides contain abstract business charts to look professional. One of the most common errors I see is users fighting against PowerPoint's logic. They insert a blank slide and manually draw text boxes. This is a fragile way to build. PowerPoint uses layouts, predefined containers for your content, to ensure elements stay aligned. Every time you insert a slide, it comes with a specific layout, usually title and content. However, data rarely fits one mold. You might need a two-content layout for a comparison or a title-only layout for a large image. Changing the layout. If you've already added a slide and realize the layout is wrong, do not delete the slide. Instead, change its layout. Select the slide. Go to the Home tab. Click the Layout button, next to New Slide. Choose the appropriate structure, such as comparison or picture with caption. PowerPoint will intelligently attempt to reflow your existing content into the new placeholders. This keeps your text scalable and accessible. If you manually draw text boxes, they are ignored by the outline view and screen readers, which is technically poor practice and often penalized. Resetting the slide. Have you ever moved a title, resized a text box, messed up the fonts, and then regretted it? There is a panic button for this. It is called Reset. Located next to the Layout button, the Reset command forces the slide to snap back to its original layout definitions. It creates a satisfying cleanup effect, instantly realigning everything to the template's strict grid. 2.3 Enforcing design consistency via the Slide Master. Figure, split-screen comparison graphic. On the left, a messy slide with misaligned title and text boxes drifting off the edge. On the right, a reset slide where all elements are snapped perfectly into the standard layout grid. A green arrow points from left to right labeled Reset Button Action. This section represents the high ground of PowerPoint skills. To pass the ICDL exam and to maintain sanity in the corporate world, you must understand the slide master. Think of the slide master as the boss slide. If you tell the boss to wear a blue logo in the top right corner, every single employee, slide, under them will immediately wear that logo. If you manually paste a logo onto 50 separate slides, you are working harder, not smarter. Accessing the engine room. To enter this mode, go to the View tab and click Slide Master. The interface changes, the background turns slightly darker, and your thumbnail pane changes hierarchy. At the very top is the large master slide. Changes made here affect every layout below it. Beneath the master are the individual layout masters, title slide layout, title and content layout, etc. Common ICDL tasks in Slide Master. The exam often asks you to perform global updates. Here is the workflow. Insert a logo. Click the top master slide. Insert your image. Move it to the desired corner. Close master view. You will now see that logo on every slide in your deck, and it is UN-clickable in normal view, which protects it from accidental moves. Change bullet points. Select the master slide. Highlight the first level bullet text. Change the bullet style to a square or checkmark. Watch as every layout below updates instantly. Footer info. Ensure the footer placeholders, date, footer text, slide number, are positioned where you want them on the master. Once you are done, you must click Close Master View on the ribbon to return to editing your content. 2.4 Applying themes and background styles globally. Figure, diagram of the slide master hierarchy. A large, central slide icon at the top labeled the slide master, global parent. It branches down to 5 smaller slide icons labeled layouts, children. Visual arrows flow from the top parent to the children, indicating inheritance of style. The style should be clean, infographic vector art. While the slide master handles the mechanics of where things go, themes and backgrounds handle the emotional tone. A theme is not just a background picture. It is a coordinated set of fonts, colors, and effects. Applying a theme. Go to the Design tab. You will see a gallery of themes. Hovering over one provides a live preview, showing you how your current content would look in that style. When you click a theme, it transforms the entire presentation. It changes the master slide, which cascades down to all layouts. For the ICDL exam, be careful to distinguish between applying a theme to the entire deck versus selected slides. Right-click the theme and choose Apply to selected slides. Modifying background styles. Sometimes a theme is too heavy, or you need a specific solid color background for readability. In the Design tab, look for Format Background on the far right. This opens a pane where you can select solid fill, gradient fill, or picture fill. Author's tip: for professional decks, avoid complex texture fills or jarring gradients. A subtle off-white or light gray often looks more sophisticated than stark white. If you change the background on a single slide, it is a local change. If you click Apply to All at the bottom of the pane, you are effectively overriding the master settings. Be intentional with this button. Summary. Figure, a close-up screenshot of the PowerPoint format background side panel. Focus on the Gradient Fill Radio button being selected. Below it, show the Apply to All button highlighted with a glowing effect to emphasize its global power. The context is a sleek, dark mode UI interface. You have now framed the house. You know how to add rooms, slides, efficiently, how to ensure the walls are straight, layouts, how to install the plumbing and electrical so it works everywhere, slide master, and how to apply the paint, themes. With this structure in place, the heavy lifting is done. You are no longer fighting the software, you are guiding it. In the next chapter, we will begin populating these slides with text and lists, turning your structure into a narrative.
Chapter 3: Formatting Text and Informational Content. Sections. Section 3.1: Entering and editing text in placeholders and text boxes. Section 3.2: Applying typography, alignment, and line spacing. Section 3.3: Organizing content with bulleted and numbered lists. Section 3.4 Utilizing tables to organize complex data sets. We have adjusted the mirrors in Chapter 1 and poured the concrete foundation in Chapter 2. Now, we turn our attention to the interior design, the content itself. A presentation without clear text is like a beautifully constructed building with no furniture or signage. It might look stable, but no one knows how to use it. Text in PowerPoint is not just data, it is the voice of your presentation when you aren't speaking. For the ICDL candidate, this chapter is about precision. The exam demands that you manipulate text attributes quickly, ensuring that every word is legible, aligned, and stylistically consistent. We will move beyond simply typing words on a screen. We are going to master the art of readability, hierarchy, and data organization. Let's ensure your message lands exactly the way you intend. 3.1 Entering and editing text in placeholders and text boxes. There is a fundamental misunderstanding among novices that all text areas are created equal. They are not. In PowerPoint, text lives in two distinct homes, placeholders and text boxes. Understanding the difference is critical for maintaining the structural integrity we established in Chapter 2. Placeholders are the official containers preformatted by your slide master. When you click to add title, you are utilizing a placeholder. Text boxes, conversely, are rogue elements, useful for annotations or labels that sit outside the main flow, but dangerous if overused. Selecting and manipulating text. Figure, a clean, high-contrast split-screen comparison diagram. On the left, labeled the placeholder, show a text container with a dotted border and a prompt saying click to add text in a soft gray. On the right, labeled the text box, show a container with a solid border containing custom text. Use architectural blueprint styling, blue background, white lines, soft studio lighting to emphasize precision. To edit text efficiently, you must master selection methods. Clicking once places your cursor, double-clicking selects a word, triple-clicking selects the entire paragraph. This may seem trivial, but in a timed exam environment, these micro-efficiencies compound to save you minutes. When you need to move a text container, avoid clicking inside the text itself. Instead, click the border of the box. A solid line indicates the object is selected, allowing you to move or delete the entire container without fighting the cursor. The formatting ghost. You may have noticed a faint toolbar appears when you select text. This is the mini toolbar. It brings the most essential formatting tools, fonts, sizes, and colors directly to your mouse pointer. Get into the habit of using this immediately after selection rather than dragging your mouse all the way up to the ribbon. 3.2 Applying typography, alignment, and line spacing. Typography in a presentation serves a different master than typography in a book. In a book, the reader controls the pace. In a presentation, the audience is glancing at a screen from a distance while trying to listen to you. Clarity is not just a preference, it is a requirement. The ICDL syllabus focuses heavily on your ability to modify font types, sizes, and styles, bold, italic, underline. However, professional polish comes from understanding why you are making these changes. Use bolding to create visual anchors, not just for emphasis. The power of alignment. Alignment dictates the reading path. Left-aligned text is the gold standard for readability in Western languages because the eye knows exactly where to return for the next line. Center alignment provides a formal, balanced look but should be reserved for titles or short quotes. Justified alignment, squaring off both edges, often creates awkward rivers of white space between words. Avoid this in PowerPoint unless absolutely necessary. The goal is to guide the eye, not to force the text into a rigid box. Breathing room, line spacing. If your text feels cramped or overwhelming, the culprit is usually line spacing. This is the vertical distance between lines of text. Standard single spacing is often too tight for a projected screen. By increasing line spacing to 1.1 or 1.2, or adding space after a paragraph, you introduce white space. This invisible element reduces cognitive load, allowing the audience to absorb information faster. To an examiner, adjusting paragraph spacing demonstrates a sophisticated command of the software. 3.3 Organizing content with bulleted and numbered lists. Figure, a side-by-side macro photography style shot of two text blocks on a slide. The left block uses single spacing and looks dense and impenetrable. The right block uses 1.2 spacing with 6-point spacing after paragraphs, looking airy and inviting. Use soft, warm lighting to highlight the readability of the right side, with floating dimensional measurements indicating the spacing values. Humans love lists. We crave order. When you present 3 or more related items, your instinct should be to list them. However, the choice between bullets and numbers changes the psychological meaning of the content. Use bulleted lists when the order does not matter. If you are listing ingredients for a recipe, bullets are fine. Use numbered lists when the sequence is critical. If you are listing the steps to cook that recipe, you must use numbers. The hierarchy of thought. PowerPoint lists are hierarchical. You often need to nest ideas under broader categories. This is done by demoting, moving text to the right, or promoting, moving text to the left. Do not use the spacebar to push text over. This destroys the formatting structure. Instead, use the Tab key to demote a line and Shift+Tab to promote it. Alternatively, look for the indent icons in the paragraph group on the Home tab. Customizing list visuals. The default black dot is functional, but rarely inspiring. You can change bullets to check marks, arrows, or even custom images to match your branding. This seemingly small detail signals to the audience that you have customized the experience for them. 3 Point for utilizing tables to organize complex data sets. Figure, a 3D isometric illustration of a floating list structure. The main bullet point is a large, glowing cube. Subpoints are smaller spheres connected by glowing data lines, indented to the right. A third level is represented by small pyramids. The background is a deep tech blue gradient. This visualizes the concept of nesting and hierarchy in a tangible, structural way. Sometimes, a list isn't enough. When you need to compare variables or display structured data, a table is the only professional choice. A table creates a grid that organizes information across rows and columns, turning chaos into clarity. To insert a table, navigate to the Insert tab. You can draw the grid visually or specify the exact number of rows and columns. Once the table exists, 2 new tabs appear on the ribbon, Table Design and Layout. Formatting for focus. A raw table looks like a spreadsheet, functional but ugly. Use the Table Design tab to apply styles that match your presentation's color theme. However, be careful not to overstyle. The data is the hero, the grid is just the supporting actor. Use banded rows, alternating colors, to help the eye track across wide tables. Ensure your header row is distinct, usually darker with bold text, so the audience immediately understands what each column represents. Modifying structure. Data changes. You will often need to add a row for new data or delete a column that is no longer relevant. These tools are found in the Layout tab. You can also merge cells to create headers that span multiple columns, a technique that is frequently tested in certification exams. Figure, an overhead, straight-down view of a hand placing a final glass tile into a glowing grid on a dark surface. The grid represents a PowerPoint table. The tiles contain crisp, white data text. The hand suggests the manual curation and organization of data. The lighting is cool and precise, emphasizing the layout aspect of table design. We have now furnished our presentation with text, lists, and tables. The structure is solid, and the content is legible. But a presentation is more than just words on a screen, it requires visual evidence to support your claims. In the next chapter, we will step into the world of visual storytelling by mastering charts and graphs.
Chapter 4: Visual Communication with Graphical Objects. Sections. Section 4.1: Inserting, Resizing, and Cropping Imagery. Section 4.2: Drawing and Formatting Shapes, lines, and arrows. Section 4.3, Managing Object Layering, Grouping, and Alignment. Section 4.4, Creating Organization Charts and Hierarchical Diagrams. We have framed the house and furnished the rooms with text. Now, we turn on the lights. If text is the logical voice of your presentation, graphics are the emotional hook. They transcend language barriers, simplify complex data, and determine whether your audience leans in or checks their phones. However, visual communication is dangerous territory for the untrained user. There is a fine line between a professional diagram and a chaotic collage. For the ICDL candidate, this chapter is about control. You must demonstrate the ability to manipulate visuals with mathematical precision, ensuring images are not distorted, shapes are perfectly aligned, and hierarchies are clear. We are moving away from decoration and toward functional design. Every pixel you place on a slide must serve a purpose. Let's learn how to wield these visual tools with the accuracy of a draftsman. 4.1 Inserting, Resizing, and Cropping Imagery. An image is not merely a placeholder, it is evidence. Whether you are displaying a product prototype or a corporate headshot, the integrity of that image matters. The most common mistake in amateur presentations is aspect ratio distortion, stretching a photo until it looks unnatural. To insert an image, navigate to the Insert tab and select Pictures. You can source these from your local device or online repositories. Once the image is on the canvas, your immediate priority is resizing it without destroying its proportions. To resize correctly, always drag from the corner handles, never the sides. Dragging a side handle stretches the image disproportionately. For the ICDL exam, you will often be asked to set an image to exact dimensions. Use the Picture Format tab and enter specific values in the height and width fields on the far right. Sometimes, a picture contains too much information. You don't need the entire boardroom in the shot, you just need the person speaking. This is where cropping comes in. Figure, a dual panel comparison diagram. Left panel shows a wrong example with a photo of a building stretched horizontally, looking squat and distorted. Right panel shows the correct example with the same photo maintaining original aspect ratio. Overlay graphics highlight the corner handle being used on the right, green checkmark, versus the side handle on the left, red X. Style, clean, instructional line art over photorealistic imagery. Select the image and click the crop button on the ribbon. Black handles will appear around the image perimeter. Drag these handles inward to hide unwanted areas. Note that you are not deleting the pixels, you are simply masking them. You can always uncrop later if the context changes. 4.2 Drawing and Formatting Shapes, Lines, and Arrows. PowerPoint is, at its core, a vector drawing tool. You are not limited to imported photos, you can build your own diagrams using shapes. This is essential for creating flowcharts, callouts, or highlighting specific data points on a slide. Head to Insert Shapes. You will see a gallery ranging from basic rectangles to equation symbols. Select a shape, then click and drag on the slide to draw it. If you hold the Shift key while dragging, you constrain the proportions, creating perfect circles and squares rather than ovals and rectangles. Once a shape is drawn, the Shape Format tab becomes your toolkit. You can modify the shape fill, the interior color, the shape outline, the border, and shape effects, shadows, reflections, or bevels. Lines and arrows require specific attention. They are the connective tissue of a diagram, guiding the viewer's eye from point A to point B. When drawing a line, looking for the connection points, small gray dots, that appear on other objects is crucial. Figure, close-up UI screenshot of the Microsoft PowerPoint Shape Format ribbon. The Insert Shapes gallery is expanded on the left. The Shape Styles section is highlighted in the center, showing a drop-down of preset color themes, blue, orange, gray. A cursor is hovering over the Shape Outline tool, revealing the Weight and Dashes submenu. Style, high contrast, focused UI mockup. If you anchor a line to these connection points, the line will stay attached even if you move the shapes later. This dynamic linking saves hours of reworking time when you need to rearrange a slide layout. 4.3 Managing object layering, grouping, and alignment. As you add photos, shapes, and text boxes, your slide becomes a stack of papers on a messy desk. Some items might bury others. Managing this Z-order, the front-to-back arrangement, is a critical skill for complex slide design. Use the bring forward and send backward commands in the arrange group to shuffle the stacking order. For total control, open the selection pane, found under Select Selection pane. This panel lists every object on the slide, allowing you to reorder them by dragging names up and down, or hide them temporarily to work on layers underneath. Grouping is another efficiency multiplier. If you have built a complex icon out of 3 different shapes, select them all and press Ctrl+G, or right-click Group. PowerPoint now treats them as a single unit, allowing you to move or resize the entire assembly without misaligning the individual parts. Finally, we address the mark of a professional: alignment. Never try to eyeball the position of objects. The human eye is easily tricked, but the software is exact. Figure: an isometric exploded view diagram of a PowerPoint slide. The slide is separated into floating layers to show the stacking order. The bottom layer is a background image, the middle layer contains shapes and arrows, and the top layer contains text boxes. A sidebar visual representation mimics the selection pane, showing the hierarchy of these layers. Style: 3D technical schematic, clean white background. Select multiple objects, hold Shift and click each one, then use the Align tool on the ribbon. You can align objects to the left, center, or top. Even more useful is the Distribute command, which spaces objects out perfectly evenly, removing the guesswork from creating neat rows of icons or images. 4.4 Creating organization charts and hierarchical diagrams. Drawing a corporate structure box by box using basic shapes is possible, but it is painfully slow. PowerPoint provides a dedicated engine for this called SmartArt. SmartArt converts simple bulleted lists into professional graphical diagrams automatically. To create an organization chart, go to Insert SmartArt and select the hierarchy category. Choose a layout, and a diagram with a corresponding text pane will appear. Do not type directly into the boxes. Type your data into the text pane list on the left. Using the Tab key demotes an item, moving it down the hierarchy, while Shift+Tab promotes it, moving it up. The chart redraws itself instantly to match your list structure. The ICDL exam often requires you to manipulate the structure of these charts specifically. You may need to add a assistant box or change the hanging layout of a branch. Figure: a split-screen view showing the SmartArt workflow. On the left, a text-based list with indentations: CEO, Manager, Assistant. On the right, the resulting polished organization chart diagram generated from that text. An arrow flows from the text to the diagram, symbolizing the automated conversion. The SmartArt design ribbon is visible at the top. Style: digital instructional illustration, accentuating the connection between data and visual. Use the SmartArt Design tab for these structural changes. The Add Shape button allows you to insert a new box specifically after, before, above, or below the selected item. This tool ensures you can handle complex reporting lines without breaking the visual consistency of the chart.
Chapter 5: Representing Data Through Charts. Sections. Section 5.1: Selecting the appropriate chart type for your data. Section 5.2: Importing data and editing chart source values. Section 5.3: Customizing chart legends, labels, and titles. Section 5.4: Modifying chart colors and styles for clarity. We have framed the house in Chapter 2, furnished it with text in Chapter 3, and hung the artwork in Chapter 4. Now, we must bring in the evidence. If graphics are the emotional hook of a presentation, charts are the logical anchor. They are the proof that validates your claims, turning abstract numbers into undeniable visual trends. For the ICDL candidate, this chapter represents a shift from design to data management. A common mistake is treating a chart like a static picture. In PowerPoint, a chart is a dynamic window into a spreadsheet. The exam requires you to understand this relationship, not just how to make bars look colorful, but how to manipulate the numbers driving them. We are going to move beyond inserting a chart. We are going to master the connection between data and display, ensuring that when you present a trend, your audience sees the story instantly, without having to decipher the math. 5.1 Selecting the appropriate chart type for your data. Data storytelling begins before you click a single button. It begins with a decision: what is the relationship you are trying to show? Choosing the wrong chart type is like trying to drive a nail with a screwdriver. The tool might be high quality, but it is the wrong fit for the job. The ICDL syllabus focuses on 4 core chart types: column, bar, line, and pie. Your choice dictates how the audience processes the information. A column chart compares distinct items, while a line chart implies movement over time. Understanding this distinction is critical for both the exam and professional life. Core chart classifications. 1. Column and bar charts. Comparison: use these when comparing values across categories, such as sales figures for different regions. Column charts are vertical, bar charts are horizontal. Use bar charts specifically when your category labels are long text, as they are easier to read horizontally. 2. Line charts. Trends: use these exclusively for continuous data, usually over time, months, years, quarters. A line connects the dots to show a trajectory, growth, decline, or stagnation. Never use a line chart to compare unrelated items, like apples versus oranges, as the connecting line implies a relationship that doesn't exist. 3. Pie charts. Proportions: use these only when you have a complete set of data that adds up to 100%. A pie chart shows how parts relate to a whole. If you have negative numbers or too many small slices, the pie chart becomes unreadable. Inserting the chart. Figure: a clean, high-contrast infographic grid comparing for chart types. Top left, vertical column chart labeled comparison. Top right, horizontal bar chart labeled long labels. Bottom left, line chart labeled trends over time. Bottom right, pie chart labeled parts of a whole. The style is minimalist corporate vector art with blue and gray accents. To insert a chart, navigate to the Insert tab on the ribbon and click Chart. The Insert Chart dialog box offers a vast array of options, but stick to the clustered column or standard line chart for most exam tasks unless specified otherwise. Once you select your type and click OK, PowerPoint does something unique: it opens a mini Excel window. This is the heartbeat of your chart, which leads us directly into data management. 5.2 Importing data and editing chart source values. When a chart appears, it is filled with dummy data, usually a Category 1, Series 1. Many users panic here, trying to delete the chart and start over. Do not do this. You simply need to replace the placeholder data with your actual figures. The relationship between the chart and the datasheet is live. If you change a number in the spreadsheet window, the bar on the slide jumps instantly. For the ICDL exam, you must be comfortable navigating this split-screen environment. The data window mechanics. The small spreadsheet window contains a colored bounding box, usually blue. Only the data inside this blue line is displayed on your chart. If you type data outside this line, it will not appear. You must click and drag the bottom right corner of the blue outline to expand or contract the data range. To edit data later, select the chart, go to the Chart Design tab, and click Edit Data. Switching rows and columns. Figure: a close-up user interface simulation showing the Edit Data spreadsheet window floating over a PowerPoint slide. A cursor is highlighted dragging the bottom right corner of a blue bounding box to include a new row of data labeled Q for results. The chart on the slide underneath is visibly updating to add a fourth bar. Sometimes, the chart interprets your data backward. You might want to group by year, but PowerPoint groups by product. This is a frequent exam question. On the Chart Design tab, locate the Switch Row A Column button. This instantly swaps the x-axis data with the legend data. It is the fastest way to reorient a chart without retyping a single number. 5.3 Customizing chart legends, labels, and titles. A chart without labels is just abstract geometry. Your audience should never have to guess what the x-axis represents or what the blue bar stands for. The ICDL standard requires you to toggle these elements on and off with precision to ensure maximum readability. Modern versions of PowerPoint use a shortcut for this, the Chart Elements button. It looks like a green plus sign, plus symbol appearing next to the chart when you select it. This menu allows you to check or uncheck elements like axes, chart titles, data labels, and legends. Managing specific elements. 1. The chart title. Do not simply delete the placeholder title. Click it and type a descriptive summary, such as Annual Revenue 2023. If the title is missing, use the plus menu to bring it back. The exam may ask you to remove it entirely to save space. 2. The legend. The legend identifies what the colors mean. By default, it often sits at the bottom. However, you can move it to the right, top, or left using the arrow next to legend in the Chart Elements menu. Position the legend where it balances the visual weight of the slide. 3. Data labels. Data labels place the actual value, e.g., $500, directly on top of the chart bar or line point. This is excellent for precision but can clutter the view. Only use these if the exact number is more important than the general trend. 5. For modifying chart colors and styles for clarity. Figure, a technical diagram showing that the Chart Elements floating menu expanded. Call out lines. Highlight the checkboxes for data labels, grid lines, and legend. The diagram illustrates the result of clicking each, labels appearing on bars, grid lines disappearing, and the legend moving from bottom to right. The default colors in PowerPoint are safe, but they rarely match your specific needs or branding. Furthermore, standard colors might lack the contrast required for a projector in a bright room. The final step in mastering charts is styling them for clarity and impact. For the ICDL candidate, this goes beyond picking a pretty preset. You must know how to target a specific data series, e.g., turning only the 2023 bars red without affecting the rest of the chart. Utilizing chart styles. The Chart Design tab offers a gallery of chart styles. These are pre-packaged combinations of layouts, shading, and effects. While useful for speed, they can sometimes add unnecessary shadows or 3D effects that distort data. Stick to flat, clean styles for professional exams. Manual color formatting. To change a specific series, 1. Click once on a bar. This selects the whole series. 2. Go to the Format tab on the ribbon. 3. Use Shape Fill to choose a new color. If you need to highlight a single data point, for example, making just the December bar goal to show a record month, click the bar once to select the series, pause, and click that specific bar again. Now, only that single data point is selected, and your color change will apply to it alone. Author's reflection, the ethics of visualization. Figure, the side-by-side comparison titled, Chart Clarity. The left side shows a chaotic 3D chart with dark shadows, illegible text, and low contrast colors. The right side shows a clean, flat 2D chart with high contrast blue and orange bars, clear data labels, and a distinct title. A green checkmark sits over the right chart. As we conclude this chapter, remember that charts carry authority. People trust numbers. When you adjust the scale of an axis or change a color to highlight a trend, you are framing the truth. The skills you have learned here, selecting types, editing data ranges, and customizing labels, are technical requirements for the ICDL. But in the professional world, they are tools of integrity. Use them to clarify complex realities, not to obscure them. We have now established the foundation, structured the deck, refined the text, designed the graphics, and visualized the data. Your presentation is fully built. In the next chapter, we will learn how to prepare this masterpiece for the spotlight, focusing on transitions, animations, and final delivery.
Chapter 6. Controlling Flow and Motion. Sections. Section 6.1, Applying Professional Slide Transitions. Section 6.2, Implementing Entrance, Emphasis, and Exit Animations. Section 6.3, Managing Animation Sequencing and Timing. Section 6.4, Hiding Slides for Tailored Audience Viewing. We have framed the house, furnished it with text, decorated it with graphics, and anchored it with data. Your presentation currently exists as a static series of high-quality posters. However, a presentation is not a poster, it is a cinematic experience designed to be moved through. In this chapter, we transition from design to direction. You are no longer just the architect, you are now the film director. You decide how the audience travels from one idea to the next and exactly when specific information is revealed to them. For the ICDL candidate, this is where technical precision meets psychological control. The exam requires you to demonstrate that you can manage the timing and sequence of elements without causing technical glitches. We will master the art of revealing information progressively, ensuring your audience reads exactly what you want them to read, exactly when you want them to read it. 6.1 Applying Professional Slide Transitions. A transition is the visual effect that occurs when you move from one slide to the next. In the early days of PowerPoint, users abused these features with checkerboards and dissolving pixels that distracted from the content. Professionalism demands subtlety. The transition should signal a change in topic without screaming for attention. To apply a transition, navigate to the Transitions tab on the ribbon. Here, you will see a gallery of effects ranging from subtle to exciting. For certification and professional purposes, stick to the subtle category, specifically fade, push, or wipe. Once an effect is selected, you must configure its properties using effect options. This button, located next to the transition gallery, allows you to determine the direction of the movement, e.g., pushing from the bottom versus pushing from the left. Consistency is key here. If your slides push from the right, they should always push from the right to maintain a logical visual narrative. Figure, photorealistic macro shot of a computer screen showing the PowerPoint transitions ribbon. The mouse cursor is hovering over the push effect. The lighting is focused on the ribbon bar, emphasizing the difference between subtle, exciting, and dynamic content categories. High contrast, professional office setting background. 6.1.1 Timing and Advancement. The ICDL exam frequently tests your ability to control how a slide advances. By default, slides advance on mouse click, which gives the presenter total control. However, for self-running kiosks or strict timing constraints, you may need to use the after setting in the timing group. When you check the after box and set a specific time, e.g., 5 seconds, the slide will automatically advance after 5 seconds. Be careful not to trap yourself. If you set a timer but need to answer a question, the slide will move on without you. Finally, efficiency is a core component of the ICDL syllabus. You rarely need to set transitions one by one. Once you have configured the perfect transition and timing for one slide, click Apply to All. This instantly unifies the behavior of your entire deck, ensuring a cohesive feel and saving you valuable minutes during the exam. Figure, close-up diagram of the timing group in the Transitions tab. Highlights the on-mouse click checkbox, checked, and the after timer, set to midnight. An overlaid graphic arrow indicates the Reply to All button, symbolizing efficiency. 6.2 Implementing Entrance, Emphasis, and Exit Animations. While transitions handle the movement between slides, animations handle the movement on a single slide. This is the primary tool for progressive disclosure, revealing bullet points or charts one by one to keep the audience focused on your current point rather than reading ahead. Select the object you wish to animate, whether it is a text box, an image, or a chart, and open the Animations tab. You will see 4 distinct categories of effects, color-coded for clarity. Entrance, green the object is invisible and then appears. Emphasis, yellow the object is already visible and draws attention, pulsing, spinning. Exit, red the object leaves the screen. Motion paths, the object moves from point A to point B. For most business presentations and certification tasks, entrance effects are your workhorses. Select your text box and choose an effect like appear or fade. Avoid bounce or swivel unless the tone is strictly informal. Professional motion should be smooth and direct. 6.2.2 Animating charts and smart art. Figure, a split-screen illustration showing a bulleted list. On the left, the list is static. On the right, the third bullet point is highlighted with a green fly in motion path indicator, showing the mechanics of the animation engine. The style is clean, technical, and instructional. PowerPoint offers intelligent animation options for complex objects like the charts we built in Chapter 5. If you apply an animation to a bar chart, the default setting animates the entire chart as a single object. This defeats the purpose of storytelling with data. To fix this, apply an animation, then look for the Effect Options button. For charts, you will see an option to animate by series or by category. This allows you to click and reveal one bar at a time, building the suspense of your data narrative. The ICDL exam often requires you to demonstrate this granular control over object groups. 6.3 Managing animation sequencing and timing. Applying an animation is easy. Choreographing a sequence requires logic. When you have multiple objects animating on a single slide, you must tell PowerPoint the order in which they should move. This is managed through the animation pane, a crucial tool located in the Advanced Animation group. Open the animation pane to see a vertical list of all effects on the current slide. The numbers next to the effects correspond to the click order. If every effect has a mouse icon next to it, you will have to click for every single movement, a tedious experience for the audience. 6.3.1 Start Options. Figure, detailed UI mockup of the PowerPoint animation pane. It shows 3 distinct animations. 1. Title, green star. 2. Image, green star. 3. Caption, yellow star. A cursor is right-clicking the second item to show the context menu with Start on click, Start with previous, and Start after previous visible. To create a fluid flow, you must master the 3 start triggers available in the animation pane or the timing group on the ribbon. 1. On click, the animation waits for you. 2. With previous, the animation happens at the exact same time as the item above it, good for showing an image and its caption simultaneously. 3. After previous, the animation begins automatically once the item above it finishes. Using after previous allows you to build daisy chains of motion. Imagine a process diagram where arrow A fades in, then arrow B fades in automatically. This reduces the number of clicks you need to make, allowing you to focus on eye contact with your audience rather than your clicker. 6.3.2 Reordering animations. If you realize your exit animation is happening before your entrance animation, you do not need to delete them. In the animation pane, simply select the effect and use the Move Earlier or Move Later arrows, often represented by up-down carrots. Correct sequencing is a standard troubleshooting task in the ICDL exam. 6.4 Hiding slides for tailored audience viewing. There is a difference between deleting a slide and hiding it. Deleting destroys the content, hiding simply tells the slideshow mode to skip it. This is an essential feature for managing a master deck that serves multiple audiences. Imagine you have a presentation that includes detailed financial breakdowns. You need those slides for the board meeting, but for the general staff meeting, they are too granular. Instead of creating 2 separate files, which creates version control issues, you simply hide the detailed slides. To do this, navigate to the Slide Sorter view, found in the View tab or the bottom status bar. Right-click the slide you wish to skip and select Hide Slide. You will see a visual indicator, usually a /i icon or the slide number crossed out, confirming the status. During the presentation, PowerPoint will jump seamlessly from slide 3 to slide 5. However, the hidden slide is still accessible if you absolutely need it. By right-clicking during the show and using the See All Slides navigator, you can manually pull it up to answer a tough question. This trick makes you look incredibly prepared and adaptable. Figure, a view of the PowerPoint slide sorter interface. Multiple slide thumbnails are visible. Slide 4 is dimmed with a specific hide slide icon, a box with a diagonal line, over the slide number. The surrounding slides are bright and active, illustrating the contrast between active and hidden states.
Chapter 7, Finalizing and Proofing the Slideshow. Sections. Section 7.1, Utilizing Spell Check and Language Settings. Section 7.2, Adding and Managing Speaker Notes. Section 7.3, Configuring Slide Setup, Orientation, and Aspect Ratios. Section 7.4, Using Headers and Footers for Slide Identification. We have acted as architects, interior designers, data analysts, and film directors in the previous chapters. Your presentation now has structure, content, visual flair, verifiable evidence, and cinematic flow. However, there is one final, critical phase before you step onto the stage or hit send. Think of this chapter as the final building inspection. You wouldn't invite guests into a newly built home if the door handles were loose or there was dust in the corners. In PowerPoint, a single typo or a formatting error can undermine the credibility of 50 hours of design work. For the ICDL candidate, this stage is about quality assurance. The exam tests your ability to ensure the presentation is technically flawless and ready for consumption. We are shifting focus from creation to refinement, ensuring that what the audience sees is exactly what you intend, with no unpleasant surprises. 7.1 Utilizing Spell Check and Language Settings. Nothing destroys professional authority faster than a misspelling on a 50-foot screen. While human eyes can glaze over errors after staring at a deck for hours, PowerPoint's internal review tools are tireless. However, they are not magic, they require your guidance to function correctly. The spell check tool is your first line of defense. It scans your text containers against its internal dictionary. But for the ICDL exam, simply clicking Ignore is not enough. You must understand how to navigate the proofing pane, correcting actual errors while adding industry-specific jargon to the dictionary so it isn't flagged in the future. Language settings are equally vital, especially in a globalized business environment. If you type a quote in French or Spanish, PowerPoint will mark every word as an error unless you tell it otherwise. You must be able to select specific text blocks and assign the correct proofing language to them. Running the spell check. Figure, AI-ready prompt for a split-screen diagram. Left side, a close-up of the PowerPoint review ribbon with its spelling icon highlighted in soft blue light. Right side, the spelling task pane open on the right, showing a flagged word T and suggested corrections. The lighting should be clean and professional, focusing on the UI elements. To begin the audit, navigate to the Review tab and select Spelling. PowerPoint will systematically jump from one potential error to the next. This linear process allows you to make quick decisions, correct, ignore, or add to dictionary. Be cautious with proper nouns or company names. If you accidentally change a client's name because the software suggested a similar common word, the result is worse than the typo. Always verify before clicking Change. Setting proofing language. If you are working with multilingual content, you cannot rely on global settings. Select the text box containing the foreign language. On the Review tab, click the Language button and choose Set Proofing Language. This tells the software to switch dictionaries for that specific paragraph, ensuring your foreign terms are spell-checked correctly. 7.2 Adding and Managing Speaker Notes. Your slides are for the audience, your notes are for you. A common amateur mistake is putting the entire script on the slide, forcing the audience to read instead of listen. Professional presenters use the slide as a visual anchor and keep the detailed explanation in the speaker notes. Speaker notes act as your teleprompter. They allow you to stay on track, remember specific statistics, or cue transitions without cluttering the screen. In the ICDL context, you must know how to add these notes efficiently and how they behave in different views. We must also distinguish between Notes view for editing and Presenter view for delivery. This section focuses on the input phase, getting the information into the deck so it is there when you need it. Entering notes. Figure, a diagram showing the PowerPoint interface in a normal view. The focus is on the bottom panel labeled Click to Add Notes. An arrow indicates this section. A magnified bubble shows text being typed there. Key statistic, 45% growth in Q3. The style should be technical and instructional. In normal view, look for the Notes button on the status bar at the bottom of the window. Clicking this toggles a panel below the slide canvas. This is where you type your script, reminders, or cues. Keep your notes concise. You generally won't be reading them verbatim, but rather glancing at them for keywords. Formatting here is minimal, but you can use bold or italics to emphasize points you absolutely cannot forget. The Notes page view. Sometimes you need to see how your notes will look when printed as a handout. Go to the View tab and select Notes page. This view shows the slide on the top half of the page and your notes on the bottom. This view is essential for the exam. You may be asked to adjust the size of the slide image relative to the text on the Notes page, or to check that the notes fit within the printable margins. 7.3 Configuring slide setup, orientation, and aspect ratios. The physical environment where you present dictates your digital canvas. If you design a widescreen presentation but project it on an old 4:3 projector, your beautiful layout will be shrunk and sandwiched between black bars. This is called letterboxing, and it wastes valuable screen real estate. Configuring the slide setup is akin to choosing the size of your canvas before you start painting. While it is best to do this at the start, you often inherit decks with the wrong settings. Changing the slide size late in the process can distort images, so knowing how to manage this transition is a key skill. Orientation is another factor. While 99% of presentations are landscape, horizontal, there are specific use cases for portrait, vertical, slides, such as digital signage or kiosk displays. The ICDL certification requires you to know how to toggle between these orientations. Adjusting slide size. Figure, AI-ready prompt for a comparative visual. On the left, a modern 16:9 widescreen laptop display showing a full-screen presentation. On the right, an older square 4:3 projection screen showing the same slide with black bars on top and bottom. A dimension arrow clearly labels 16:9 and 4:3. The style uses flat vector art with a professional color palette. Navigate to the Design tab and locate the Slide Size button on the far right. You will see standard options, Standard, 4:3, and Widescreen, 16:9. If you change the size on an existing deck, PowerPoint will ask if you want to maximize content, risking cutting things off, or ensure fit, shrinking content to fit. Ensure fit is usually the safer bet for ICDL tasks to prevent losing data off the edge of the screen. Orientation settings. To change orientation, select Custom Slide Size from the same menu. Here, you can manually toggle between portrait and landscape. Be aware that this is a global setting, it affects the entire presentation, not just a single slide. 7 Point for using headers and footers for slide identification. Imagine reading a 200-page textbook with no page numbers. It would be impossible to reference specific information. The same logic applies to professional presentations. Headers and footers provide necessary context, the date of the meeting, the company name, and most importantly, the slide number. Slide numbers are vital for Q&A sessions. It allows an audience member to say, "Can we go back to slide 14, rather than "Can we go back to that slide with the blue chart?" This small detail significantly improves the professional flow of a meeting. However, design rules apply here. You rarely want a slide number or a footer on your title slide. It looks cluttered. Mastering the Don't Show on Title Slide feature is a specific requirement for the ICDL exam. Inserting identification. Figure, AI-ready prompt for a 3D perspective of the header and footer, a dialog box floating above a slide. The dialog box highlights that slide number checkbox and the Don't Show on Title slide a checkbox with glowing orange outlines. The background slide shows a footer area populated with page 1 and confidential. Go to the Insert tab and select Header and Footer. A dialog box appears with checkboxes for date and time, slide number, and footer text. Type your organization's name or the project title in the footer field. If you select Update automatically for the date, the slide deck will always show the current date whenever you open it, useful for recurring meetings, but dangerous if you need to prove when the deck was originally created. Excluding the title slide. At the bottom of the header and footer dialog box, check the box labeled Don't Show on Title Slide. This ensures your opening moment remains clean and uncluttered, while every subsequent slide carries the necessary identification data. Apply these settings by clicking Apply to All. If you click Just Apply, it will only affect the currently selected slide, a common pitfall during the exam.
Chapter 8: Output, Printing, and Distribution. Sections. Section 8.1: Preparing handouts and notes pages for printing. Section 8.2: Configuring print settings for grayscale and color. Section 8.3: Exporting presentations to PDF and video formats. Section 8.4: Packaging presentations for portable use. We have acted as architects, interior designers, data analysts, directors, and safety inspectors in the previous chapters. We built the house, furnished it, and ensured it was safe for occupancy. Now, we must consider how the world interacts with your creation. A presentation that stays trapped on your hard drive serves no purpose. It must be delivered. In the ICDL curriculum, this phase is often treated as an afterthought, yet it is the moment where your digital work impacts the physical world. This chapter covers the logistics of distribution. We are moving from creation to shipping. Whether you are handing out physical reference materials, emailing a secure PDF to a stakeholder, or running a video on a loop in a lobby, the method of output changes how you configure the file. For the certification candidate, this requires understanding that save and print are not single-click actions, but strategic decisions. 8.1: Preparing handouts and notes pages for printing. A slide is designed to be projected on a wall. It is rarely designed to be read on a sheet of A4 paper. Printing slides one per page is often a waste of ink and paper. The ICDL syllabus emphasizes the use of handouts and notes pages to provide value to your audience and support to yourself as the speaker. Handouts are for the audience. They are the takeaways that allow listeners to focus on your words rather than furiously transcribing your slides. Notes pages are for you. They contain the slide image and the script or cues you typed in the notes pane during the creation phase. To master this, you must move beyond the standard print dialog and enter the Handout Master. Just as we used the Slide Master to control the look of slides, the Handout Master controls the layout of your printed materials. Editing the Handout Master. Figure: a split-screen comparison diagram. On the left, a standard PowerPoint slide view. On the right, the Handout Master view showing a layout with 3 slides on the left and lined note-taking space on the right. Call-out boxes highlight the header, footer, and date placeholders. Lighting is clean and professional, emphasizing the structural grid. Access the View tab and select Handout Master. Here, you are not editing the content of the slides, but the arrangement of the page. The exam often requires you to change the orientation, portrait versus landscape, or the number of slides per page. A professional standard is the 3 slides layout, which automatically places lines for writing next to the slide thumbnails. This invites the audience to engage with your content actively. While in this view, ensure you customize the header and footer to include the date or your company name, ensuring the document is identifiable after it leaves the meeting room. Formatting notes pages. The notes page view is different. It creates a prompt card for the presenter. Go to View Notes page to see how your speaker notes will print. Often, the default text is too small to read while standing on a stage. In this view, you can resize the slide image to make more room for text, or increase the font size of your notes for better visibility. Remember, these changes do not affect the projected presentation. They only alter the printed reference material you hold in your hand. 8.2: Configuring print settings for grayscale and color. The most expensive liquid in a corporate office is usually printer ink. Printing a dark blue background with yellow text requires massive amounts of toner and often results in a soggy, unreadable page. A professional understands the difference between screen aesthetics and print practicality. PowerPoint allows you to preview and adjust how colors translate to black and white before you send the job to the printer. This is crucial for ICDL candidates, as you must demonstrate the ability to ensure legibility in non-color formats. Using pure black and white versus grayscale. Figure: a hyperrealistic close-up of a laser printer output tray. A hand holds two versions of the same slide. The top version is in full color but looks muddy. The bottom version is in pure black and white, showing crisp high-contrast lines and clear text without the background fill. The focus is on the clarity of the bottom document. Navigate to the View tab and look for the color grayscale group. When you select grayscale, PowerPoint approximates the colors using shades of gray. This usually works well for photos but can make charts difficult to read if the bars have similar tonal values. Pure black and white is more drastic. It removes most background fills and turns text and lines to solid black. This is the setting to use for laser printers or photocopying. In this mode, you can right-click specific objects to force them to appear a certain way, e.g., forcing a logo to appear in grayscale while the rest of the slide is black and white. Print range and copies. When you finally select File Print, precision is key. You rarely need to print the entire deck. The print range setting allows you to specify current slide or a custom range, e.g., 1 to 5, 8. Pay attention to the collate option. If you are printing 10 copies of a 50-page presentation, collated prints pages 1 through 50 10 times. Uncollated prints page 1 10 times, then page 2 10 times. For a finished handout, always collate. For a training manual where you are assembling binders, uncollated might be faster. 8.3 Exporting presentations to PDF and video formats. We have discussed physical paper, but modern distribution is increasingly digital. Sending a raw .pptx file is risky, fonts may break, or an accidental click by the recipient could move an image. To secure your content, you must lock it down. The PDF, portable document format, is the industry standard for fixed layouts. Exporting to PDF ensures that what you see on your screen is exactly what the client sees on theirs, regardless of whether they have PowerPoint installed. Creating a PDF. To create a PDF, navigate to File Export, Create PDF XPS document. Do not simply save as if you need specific control over the output. The Export menu allows you to choose whether to include hidden slides, frame slides, or include speaker notes. For the ICDL exam, remember that a PDF is static. Animations, transitions, and audio will not play. It is a digital photograph of your slides, perfect for email attachments and archival purposes. Exporting as video. If your presentation relies heavily on the flow and motion we mastered in Chapter 6, such as automatic transitions or narrated timing, a PDF will ruin the experience. In this case, you export as a video. Go to File Export, Create a video. Here, you select the resolution, Standard, HD, or 4K, and decide how to handle timing. If you have recorded specific timings for your slides, PowerPoint will use them. If not, you can set a default duration, e.g., 5 seconds per slide. This transforms your presentation into a .mp4 or .wmv file, suitable for YouTube, social media, or digital signage. 8.4 Packaging presentations for portable use. Figure: a sleek, modern user interface mock-up of the PowerPoint export menu. The focus is on two icons, a red PDF icon and a film strip video icon. A connection line flows from the video icon to a tablet screen displaying the presentation as a movie, illustrating the transformation from slide deck to video content. Imagine arriving at a conference venue. You plug in your USB drive, open your file, and panic strikes. Your corporate font has been replaced by Arial, and the video you linked to won't play because the file path is broken. This is the nightmare of every presenter. A PowerPoint file does not always contain every asset it displays. Videos and large audio files are often linked rather than embedded to keep the file size down. If you move the presentation file without moving the linked video file, the link breaks. The solution is the Package Presentation for CD feature, often used today for USB drives or network folders. This tool acts as a digital suitcase, gathering every font, image, video, and linked file required to run the show and placing them into a single folder. Creating the package. Navigate to File Export Package Presentation for CD Package for CD. Despite the dated name, this function is vital for portability. When the dialog box opens, click Options. This is the critical step for ICDL candidates. Ensure that embedded TrueType fonts and linked files are checked. This guarantees that your typography remains consistent and your media plays correctly, even on a computer that has never seen your file before. Once you click Copy to Folder, PowerPoint creates a new directory containing your presentation and all its dependent assets. You can now copy this folder to a flash drive or cloud storage with total confidence. You are not just moving a file, you are transporting the entire experience.
Chapter 9, ICDL Certification Strategy and Review. Sections. Section 9.1, Reviewing Course Syllabus Competencies. Section 9.2, Avoiding Common Practical Exam Pitfalls. Section 9.3, Time Management Techniques for the Certification Test. Section 9.4, Completing a Mock Project Workflow. We have spent the previous chapters building a comprehensive skill set, moving from the foundational framing of the house to the final safety inspections. You now understand how PowerPoint functions as a piece of software and a communication tool. However, possessing the skills is only half the battle. The ICDL exam does not test your creativity, but rather your precision and efficiency under pressure. This chapter shifts our focus from how to do it to how to pass. The certification environment is binary. The system either registers that you completed the task correctly, or it does not. There are no points for artistic flair if you miss the specific technical requirement requested in the question. We will now treat the exam as a project in itself. We will review the high-risk competencies, analyze the mechanical traps that often catch prepared candidates, and establish a rhythm for time management. This is your final strategic briefing before you step into the testing center. 9.1 Reviewing Course Syllabus Competencies. The ICDL syllabus is not just a list of topics, it is a prioritized map of what the testing engine can verify. While we have covered advanced design theories, the exam focuses strictly on the mechanics of the application. You must be able to distinguish between global changes and local changes instantly. Your first priority is mastering the slide master. A significant portion of exam failures stem from users applying changes to individual slides when the question asks for a global change. If the prompt asks for a logo on all slides, inserting it manually 12 times will result in a fail for that question. Secondly, review your object handling. You must be comfortable manipulating images, charts, and shapes without altering their aspect ratios unless instructed. The exam engine checks numerical values. If you are asked to resize an image to 3 cm wide, a manual drag to 3.02 cm might be marked incorrect. Figure, a schematic diagram showing the hierarchy of PowerPoint settings. At the top, a large gear labeled Slide Master feeds down into smaller gears labeled Layouts, which then feed into individual slides. The style should be isometric, clean vector art with blue and orange color coding to distinguish global settings from local content. Finally, ensure you understand the distinction between slideshow settings and print settings. You will likely be asked to configure a presentation to loop continuously or to print specific handouts, e.g., 3 slides per page. These are distinct menu areas, and mixing them up is a common error. 9.2 Avoiding Common Practical Exam Pitfalls. The most frustrating way to lose points is to perform the right action on the wrong object. In PowerPoint, selection is everything. If you click inside a text box rather than on its border, you may be formatting the text cursor's location rather than the box itself. A frequent pitfall involves the Apply to All button in dialog boxes. When modifying transitions or animations, candidates often instinctively click Apply to All because it feels efficient. If the question specifies a transition for slide 3 only, clicking that button wipes out the settings for every other slide. Another subtle trap is file management. The ICDL exam often requires you to save presentations with specific file names in specific folders. The grading system is case-sensitive and literal. Saving review v1.pptx instead of review v1.pptx can result in a 0 for that task. Figure, detailed AI-ready prompt for a split-screen comparison illustration. On the left, a user interface view showing a text cursor blinking inside a word, labeled incorrect selection. On the right, the same text box with a solid line border selected and no blinking cursor, labeled correct selection. Red and green highlights indicate the status. High contrast, professional technical illustration style. Be wary of closing dialog boxes too quickly. Some tasks require multiple settings changes within a single pop-up window, e.g., changing a line color and its width. If you close the box after the first change, reopening it costs you valuable seconds and disrupts your flow. 9.3 Time management techniques for the certification test. The exam is a race against a clock that does not pause. You typically have 45 minutes to answer roughly 32 to 36 practical questions. This averages out to just over 1 minute per question, meaning you cannot afford to browse menus looking for a feature. Adopt the 2-try rule. If you attempt a task and cannot find the correct tool within 2 attempts, flag the question and move on. Getting stuck on a difficult chart formatting question for 5 minutes creates a panic cascade that will ruin your performance on the easier questions that follow. Use the search bar, often labeled "Tell me what you want to do," if you blank on a feature's location. While knowing the ribbon tabs is standard, the search bar is a legitimate tool within the application. Using it is not cheating, it is a demonstration of interface proficiency. Finally, manage your window states. The exam interface often overlays the question bar on top of the PowerPoint window. If a dialog box disappears behind the question bar, do not panic. Simply move the PowerPoint window or minimize the question bar temporarily to access the OK button. Figure, a linear timeline visualization representing a 45-minute exam session. The timeline is broken into 3 segments: first pass, 30 minutes, review flagged items, 10 minutes, and final check, 5 minutes. Icons representing a flag, a checkmark, and a saved disk populate the segments. Soft lighting, 3D infographic style. 9 point for completing a mock project workflow. To synthesize everything we have learned, we will walk through a compressed workflow that mimics the structure of a standard ICDL exam module. This is not about memorizing a specific test, but about practicing the mental gear shifting required between tasks. Step 1. The setup phase. Assume you are asked to open strategy.pptx and change the theme colors. Do not look at the slide content yet. Go immediately to the Design tab, locate the Variants group, and select the specific color set requested. This is a broad stroke action. Step 2. The master slide phase. Next, you are tasked with adding a copyright text to the footer of every slide except the title slide. 1. Navigate to View, Slide Master. 2. Select the topmost mother slide to ensure inheritance. 3. Insert the footer text. 4. Check Don't Show on Title slide in the master layout or header footer options. 5. Critical, close the master view before proceeding. Step 3. Content and logic. You are asked to create a hierarchy chart on slide 4. 1. Navigate to slide 4. 2. Click the Smart Art icon in the content placeholder. 3. Choose Hierarchy Organization Chart. 4. Enter the data strictly as shown in the question image. 5. Use the Tab key or the text pane to demote items. Do not drag boxes manually. CEO. VP Sales. VP Marketing. Step 4. The output phase. Finally, the prompt asks you to print slides 1, 3, and 5 as handouts. 1. Go to File to Print. 2. Under Settings, change Print All Slides to Custom Range. 3. Type exactly 135. 4. Change the layout setting to 3 slides, handouts. 5. Click Print or OK Save depending on the simulation. By practicing this linear progression, global setup structural layout specific content output, you align your workflow with the logic of the exam engine. Trust your training, read the prompts literally, and execute with precision. Thank you for watching and learning with me. If you found this useful, support the channel by liking the video, sharing it with someone who's ready to excel, subscribing for more practical tutorials. Your support helps create more content just like this. Keep learning and building your confidence.